Are you sure you're ready?
Are you ready?
I think so. All right.
Steve was just burping on the other side of the camera.
Yeah. We were having a nice sleepy Sunday, and then we decided to go to Super Walmart to get some groceries because everything else is closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. OMG. Would not wish that on anyone. You know, it's like people are doing a pretty good job with the social distancing thing. There was a definite divide. Like, let's say you're in the freezer section and you want to like reach for like a Tombstone pizza. Like you'll go in there and reach for the pizza, and then like, you know, there'll be two people that kind of watching you smile like 6 feet back. Mm-hmm. You know, and then you leave and then they go in and get their one. And then there's the other kind of person where you're like right in there getting your pizza and they're like, whoom, like right in there, like right next to you. It's like they've been living under a rock or something. I'm a germaphobe to begin with, so that shit was driving me crazy. I could not wait to get out of there.
We saw an older gentleman just popping grapes, walking around, popping grapes.
No. Okay, so you got to visualize this, right? Walmart shopping cart, no mask, no gloves. We're in there like a couple of heart surgeons, you know, and he's pushing his cart down the deal. He's like 75 years old. He's got an open bag of grapes. He's just like pop. He's like pop as he's walking down the aisle, grabbing food. Like everyone else, like all other 500 customers in the Walmart wearing like surgical masks. And it's like, what the heck, man?
It's fitty.
Yeah. You got people in there like, oh, let me get this can of Campbell's soup. Oh, I'll put that in my cart. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you people doing? So we're trying to have a sleepy Sunday. We came home and had a nice little barbecue in the backyard. And I think with a belly full, half my brain's asleep, but we're going to try to do some Ask AEAC.
Yeah, it calmed us down a little bit. We were both, our OCD was definitely kicking in the store. We were driving each other crazy.
I was kicking. Should I do the show and tell now? Or?
I don't know, do it now.
So just a quick show and tell, guys. If you haven't heard of Saber Tactical, that's Donnie and Yolanda of Donnie FL, and that's Val and Thane of Sideshot. Those two companies came together and created Saber Tactical, and I got this in the mail yesterday. This is a Saber, or actually, yesterday. It's Sunday. The mail doesn't come today. It's Easter. This is a bottle clamp where you can put this on your 480cc bottle. And then you can hook it to your favorite.
Oh, is it like a little tripod?
Yeah, well, it's so that you can put your bipod on your bottle gun. How cool is that?
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I got that, and so thanks, Donnie, and just wanted to share that with you guys. That's
Are the legs adjustable?
Yeah, these will adjust, but this is something.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
This is just an AccuTac bipod. This one came from Utah Air Guns.
Can I see it?
Yeah. But that is super, super cool. I'm going to try that on the crown here as soon as the wind comes down. We have winds tonight and all day tomorrow, 15 to 20, gusting to 30. So I did get some work done on the crown continuum yesterday, actually, guys. I put the 380 millimeter pellet liner on, and I shot groups at 50 yards, and I got through that big batch of pellets, and I got it down to just 3. So I got to go back out with the 700 pellet liner and then the 700 slug liner, and then I'll go back out and film like the trigger, sound, magazine, refill, open, close, all those other, that picnic table scene, all the other stuff you're used to seeing. But we'll break it up like that. Are you having fun with the AccuTac over there?
That's a lot of fun. These are nice. They're adjustable, like on the bottom of furniture feet, so you can level it.
Yeah.
That's cute.
And then see the on the back. Can you see that big knob looking thing?
Yeah.
Turn that. Like open it all the way.
This thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way. And now it rotates.
Oh. Hey.
Yeah, so you can get your horizontal plane right on your gun and on your scope.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you know when John Wayne like pulls out a gun? Like,
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Watch.
Give me that. Let's read some questions before these guys go to sleep on us.
Anyway, so first question. Welcome back. First question is from Create This Calm. It's about the Gammo Swarm Maxim .22. This rifle is rated at 1300 FPS. I am seeing 650 FPS pretty consistently here. Is this being measured at the target rather than the barrel?
So what's his name?
Create this comm.
Create this comm. So that was being measured at the muzzle. And I can't presume to know exactly. I'm sensing that he's upset that the box said 1,300 feet per second, and it actually shoots 650 feet per second. And the reason I picked that question is because we, as human beings, tend to feel like faster, bigger, more, is always better.
Wait, what was the answer? At the target or at the barrel?
It's at the barrel.
Okay.
I think it's human nature just to feel like more is better, and in the case of spring air guns, especially spring air guns shooting Diablo shaped pellets, those pellets that have kind of like that parachute, like what most pellets look like on the back. That all that speed is not your friend in the moment when it comes to shooting that kind of pellet. And what I mean by that is the sweet spot is typically 850-ish feet per second, not the 1,300 feet per second you read on the box. So the reason the manufacturers are putting that on the box is to get in your wallet, right? Because they know that what appeals to us as humans is more, better, faster. Because I think to an air gun, faster means I can inflict more damage. To an air gunner, faster means I can inflict more damage, I can reach out further. Sure. But you're going to pay for that dearly when it comes to accuracy, because much over 850, 875 with a pellet, the accuracy is going to degrade significantly.
How do they get the 1,300
to
begin with?
Good question. So there's lead pellets, there's plastic pellets, there's pellets that are made of tin. There's pellets that are different weights, and what they'll typically do as a manufacturer is they'll use a very lightweight pellet. A pellet that is much lighter weight than what the standard would be. That gun was a 22 cal, so a standard 22 cal is probably a 16 or an 18 grain pellet. They probably used like a 10 or an 11 grain pellet to establish their 1,300 feet per second on the box. But just as an air gunner, you want to be smart to that and know that 1,300 feet per second in an air gun is not a positive. It's a huge detractor. It's a big negative. And you want to add weight until you can get in that 800, 850 foot per second range. Otherwise, your pellets are going to be all over the place, even in close at like 25 yards. It's going to be tough to shoot.
Interesting. Do all airgun companies do that?
No. There's a couple that are much greater offender. There's like a couple that are really big offenders. And I'm not going to mention any names, but it's again because those brands are sold like in big box stores, Kmart, Walmart, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, and they know the quickest way to get someone to buy them is to put 10 million feet per second on the side of the box, because we think, well, I want the power, I want the speed, and then you get it home and realize you can't hit anything.
It's a little shiesty.
Yeah. It is.
It's a little shiesty.
Yeah, 1,300 is bad. So back to his question very specifically. Yeah. When I review the gun, I'm reviewing the gun with pellets at a velocity in which the gun will perform at 25 and 50 yards. And that's why you're seeing 650 feet per second, 750, 850 in those reviews, because I'm dialing that back with a heavier pellet to get the accuracy out of it so I can portray, what the gun's abilities are. Because they're going to have zero at 1,300 feet per second. So
like a snot rocket.
So hope that helps, and be smart. Don't fall into that bullshit. Bullshit.
All right, next question from Graham Edwards regarding the Edgun Matador .22 review. Steve, you've been told this lots of times before, but your reviews are an absolute model of what air rifle reviews should look like. Fancy. I get more solid information, facts, and stats in the first 5 minutes of your YouTube reviews than I do in 20 minutes of waffle in other reviews. Have you ever thought of giving tutorials on how to do it to all the other experts out there? You are streets ahead of any other reviewer on your side of the pond or mine. Well done, and please keep it up.
So that's a very interesting question, and you guys don't know this unless I share this with you, but the airgun content creating community, we're all kind of friends. Like, for example, Matt, Ted, Giles, myself, Rick, Reem, Joe Ray. we're in constant communication. We text, we WhatsApp, we're on the phone, we're breaking bread together at RMAC and Pyramid Air Cup and EBR and at EWA and SHOT Show. We're friends. So we actually strategize together where we have kind of this conversation amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
Where we don't want to compete in one another's space. In other words, Matt's the big hunting guy, so I don't really want to do hunting. Giles is the funny entertainer, so
we are not that funny.
Yeah, I'm not funny. It makes more sense for me to be like the science nerd, of it all. And that way, kind of between all of us, we get it all covered.
Yeah.
And then we all get product from the manufacturer because we all kind of do it in different ways and appeal to different audiences.
Totally.
And we're not competing in one another's space. There's only one guy that's really on an island, I would say. But outside of that one guy, we take good care of one another. We look out for one another. We're friends. And we try to help one another.
Yeah.
Because when we're better, it's better for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's about growing the community. The airgun industry is not as big as I think everyone thinks.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Yeah.
It's so tiny.
Okay, so next question from Fighter Jet Fan 100. He spelled fighter FYTR. It took me a minute. Fighter Jet Fan 100.
Probably because the other one was taken.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
On the Benjamin Marauder .22 regulated. I mean, are these names of guns? Could you please review
Zbroia. You should know Zbroia. Do you want to know why you should know Zbroia?
No.
One of them actually asked me where you're from. Where were you born?
I remember that question.
Where were you born?
In Ukraine.
Yep. And Zbroia is manufactured in Ukraine.
Shut the hell up.
Nope. Swear to God.
Is it a Ukrainian word?
I don't know, but I would think that you would have known that.
Well, I don't speak Ukrainian. I speak Russian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing.
Well, Alexa, define Zbroia.
Here's something I found on the web. According to SachiArt.com, oil painting colorful zebra in black and white with highlights.
She missed
Alexa,
time.
Stop.
Stop wasting our time, Alexa.
She definitely didn't hear. Okay, so anyway. So could you please review Zbroia Sapsan or Horticia? Would like to hear your opinion on them. Is Horticia right? Did I say that?
I mean, you're asking me. I'm not the Russian.
I'm Ukrainian. I need my phone.
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. So here in the United States, Joe Brancato, the owner of airtanksforsale.com. Do you know Joe, honey?
Huh? Yeah.
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 He's the importer for Zbroia, and he actually called me a year ago, and had some questions about getting together and getting some Zbroia product through AEAC. And I was like, yeah, man, giddy up. And then he just vanished. Mm-hmm. So it's good with me. I told him I would love to. So it's kind of on Joe to make that happen. So if you guys want to see Zbroia, and the reason I picked that Zbroia question is I get that at least 2 or 3 a month. And but it's like we talked about before. I only have so much control over what gets sent to me. The companies will call and I'll be like, yeah. And then I don't know if they watch a review and then freak out and they're like, oh no, we ain't sending our gun over to Shell. I mean, I don't know, but my door is open to everyone. I always invite every company in. It's just kind of when I open the door, they have to walk through it, I guess, so to speak.
Is it spelled correctly? Zbroia?
It's OIA.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's Zbroia.
Okay. I really need my phone. Can I phone a friend? Can I call my mom?
No.
Okay, next question is from Up North Kenny. It's on the Pyramid Air Cup, the movie. Great video. I just bought my first PCP gun, Impact MK2. How... wood is spelled wood.
That happens.
W-O-T.
It happens.
How would I go about getting into these competition matches? That's a good question.
So the Pyramid Air Cup, Extreme Bench Rest, and the Rocky Mountain Air Gun Challenge are the big 3 here in the United States. Kenny, and all of them have dedicated websites where you can enroll and sign up. And I would strongly encourage you to do so because it seems like, outside of like Matt Dubber, who likes to win a lot, and it used to be kind of Ted that likes to win a lot, it seems now that it's Justin Welch, but they have all these different categories, and it always seems like there's somebody that just kind of comes out of nowhere, and walks away with a big bag full of money at the end.
The Russian guy.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he didn't come out of nowhere. He's probably been practicing for a long time, but for us, he came out of nowhere.
Well, the point is, when you go to these events every year, there's a core where it's like always the same people, but there's always new people that come, and the new people tend to do very, very well. It's a lot of preparation, it's a lot of luck because there's a lot of wind out there. It's a lot of knowing how to shoot in the wind, and it's a lot of just being a good shooter. And so I would encourage you to go.
Yeah, it's not hard, and it feels intimidating because it's like this, big put together event, and you feel like if you don't know what's going on, then you just won't be able to compete or participate or follow, but that's not the case. Like, they have entry-level beginner, people who have never competed, just to kind of that level to come in, and they're very welcoming.
They're very welcoming. There's a lot of support there, and I mean, it's not like, oh, go shoot the match. Like, you'll go there, and they want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
So there'll be lots of people like helping you, through the match, how to be successful.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to shoot a course, they're not going to just like throw you in there. They're really going to take their time and make sure you know how to shoot that course.
Yeah, so basically go online, Google it. There's tons of websites where you could, there is an official website, I should say, where you can sign up.
Yeah.
And just do it.
And you should sign up early because max capacity seems to be about 150 people at each of these events, and they fill up very quickly. Yeah. So if you don't enroll quick, you won't get a chance to go. But a lot of people go not to compete, just to hang out with like us and the other shooters and to learn stuff. And
people are willing to talk about their stuff like gangbusters. Everyone is super friendly. Like, will let you shoot their air rifles. Will tell you what they did to it. I mean, it's a very community oriented.
It's very, and you want to get to know the YouTube airgun content creating community. Go, because that's like those are the only times a year where we can really hang out with you guys and get to know you.
So I tell you a funny story. So Steve and I got into air gunning. Well, not really into it, but like our first YouTube introduction was Ted. We used to like lay in bed. Steve stumbled across his channel. This was years ago. Stumbled across his channel, and we would lay in bed and we would watch his videos and just
his bird watching videos with the Airgun Matador.
He's so funny. And so the first time we went to the competition, or maybe the second year, because the first year I didn't go, Steve literally just like crashed it and started like filming it. So the second
that was the Extreme Bench Rest.
Yes, Extreme Bench Rest. So we went to the second year, and I saw Ted, and I like fangirled out. I come up to Steve like every 5 minutes. I'm like, "Did you see him? Did you see Ted? Did you see him?"
And you know what's funny about that now is whenever I go to an event and I want to find Katya, I just look for Ted. Because there's always Ted sitting in a chair under a tent somewhere in front of an air conditioned fan. She just sits next to him. She'll sit next to him for 6 hours and they'll just talk like two peas in a pod.
Ted's really sarcastic in person, which fits my personality.
Oh,
really
those
well.
two are like
so
perfect
I just
for each other.
live for like the snarky comments he makes every now and then. It's pretty funny.
So the takeaway is
just go.
Just go.
Just go.
People are approachable and it's fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. The good old days. Okay, next question is from Stuart Crane. It was on the FX Crown .25. Steve, great videos always. One question: since the Crown was an adjustable comb, why do you shoot with your face off the stock? Oh, since the Crown has an adjustable comb. I don't know what word I put in there. I put was. Anyway, adjustable comb, why do you shoot with your face off the stock?
So when I review an air gun, guys, I try to remove as much of myself from the equation because I want the review to be about the product and not my abilities as a shooter. And something that I've learned over the years is that when you put a lot of shoulder into a PCP, especially a high-powered PCP, or you put a lot of cheek into a PCP, almost like a spring gun, it interferes with accuracy and it interferes with point of impact. So I like to I don't usually have my cheek totally out of it. I usually have like a light cheek weld where I'm touching it. It may look on camera like I'm not, and maybe there was a time when I didn't, but normally I always just have a light cheek weld and light shoulder so that the gun can kind of be isolated and do its own thing without any input from me so that you guys are able to evaluate the abilities of the gun and not the shooter.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So don't get cheeky.
Don't get cheeky. Short answer, I've found that the guns get better accuracy when I keep my shoulder and cheek out of them.
Didn't you do a whole video on that? Like how, or it was a blog? It was like your very first blog. You wrote for AOA a tutorial.
Oh no, that was for Airgun Depot like long time ago.
Yeah,
how to shoot a spring gun.
How to shoot a spring gun.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys could Google it. Maybe it's still out there.
I think it actually is in there in the Airgun Depot vault.
Yeah.
If you do Airgun Depot Vault Steve Shalley or Airgun Depot Vault AEAC, you might see some of those old videos. I did like 30 articles.
It was blogs. This is how we kind of started.
Yeah, for Airgun Depot. Like
we wrote little articles on like stuff
took
about.
Pictures
not we. And when I say we, I do mean Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, you were there.
Fun.
You were supporting me morally.
Yeah, it was a good time. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, next question is from Tim Chamberlain. This question was posted on the Diana Outlaw Regulated .22. Why do you guys use bar in the U.S.? We use PSI. Why not tell the weight in kilograms or the length in millimeters? Why even make the video in English?
So he's frustrated. So Tim, you're frustrated.
I don't know. I read it as funny sarcasm.
Yeah, it's funny sarcasm. Maybe he's not. But I was sensing some frustration and disappointment.
Oh, were you?
There.
The answer is we don't know. Anytime we watch a nature program narrated by a British dude and he's like, this thing was 25 kilograms. We're like, Alexa, how many pounds is 25 kilograms?
25 kilograms is 55 pounds, 2 ounces.
Because we don't know.
Well, I think you're missing what he's saying.
Oh, wait, what?
I think what Tim's saying is you live in the United States of America.
Uh-huh.
Why you should be relaying data to us in SAE, not metric. It's a gripe. It's a rant.
Wait, why?
Why what?
Wait, which one? Metric?
Yeah.
You should be relaying it in what's SAE?
Society of Automotive Engineers, I think.
Okay, legitimately?
Yeah. Well, so can I answer the man's question? Because you really kind of went down.
The answer was the answer. We don't know.
No, that's not the answer.
Oh, okay.
The answer is,
we also don't know.
So my YouTube channel, even though I am in the United States, only 32 or 33% of my viewers, of my audience, reside in the United States. So in other words, of the 4 million or so YouTube views I'll get a year, not on this channel, but on AEAC Home, only about 1.5-ish million of those a year are in the United States. The rest are spread out actually in 50 different countries, the majority. So where was that piece of paper?
This was not prepared at all.
Well, I wanted to be able to answer your question. So 33% is in the United States, 7.5% is in the United Kingdom, 6% is in Indonesia, almost the same viewership as the United Kingdom, and then it just kind of runs down a diminishing percentage. Thailand, Vietnam, India, Philippines, Brazil, Netherlands, Canada, Mexico, Italy, Germany, Spain, Poland, Chile, Pakistan, South Africa, France, Australia. And that was just one of like 4 pages. You know, it stopped at 50 countries and it kept diminishing. So to answer your question, Tim, the majority of my viewers are actually don't use SAE, they use metric. And so and that's part of it. The other part of it is that of my 30 sponsors, only 12 of them are from the United States. And that's not because I've chosen that, that's just because of the airgun industry. Most air guns are designed and manufactured not in the United States. And so that's why I think that most of my audience does not reside in the United States. So I try to mix that up. I usually use what the manufacturer says, like that was a Diana Outlaw. Right? Which is a German manufacturer, and that Outlaw is manufactured in China. So that was probably all in metric, and that's probably why I said bar. But I typically leave it up to the gun. Like if I have a Benjamin Marauder, I'll try to say PSI, or if I have like an Air Force, I'll try to say PSI, something that was definitely made here. But other than that, I just mix it up, and that's the reason why. Yeah, I'm in the U.S., but only a third of my audience is in the U.S.
But isn't metric the kilograms and millimeters?
Yeah. He was being sarcastic when he's like, why don't you just say... Yeah. He's disappointed that I'm not saying pounds per square inch and yards and inches and pounds.
I totally had it the other way
but
around.
I'm saying bar.
Yeah. Okay, so disqualifying my rant in the beginning, I was the other way around. Yeah.
I mean, if I could get more Americans to watch, I'd happily, and if more air guns were designed and manufactured in the U.S., I'd happily switch that over. It's definitely not like a prejudice I have, which is,
we
seems
should
like
all learn the metric system anyway.
Yeah, the whole world's on it. The whole world is on it, except for the United States.
It's kind of like military time.
Except
like
the United
everybody's
States.
on military time except for the U.S. It's a good to have.
Yeah.
It's a good to know.
And so, but yeah.
Okay.
So if I'd started doing everything in SAE, 2/3 of my audience would be like, WTF, man. They'd all be like, Tim.
WTF.
So you can't keep everyone happy, but we try to cater to the masses.
Okay.
Next.
This is from Mark Frank. It was posted to an Ask AEAC blog. Best rifle for lead-free pellets? ? Hold on, there's more. Most reviewers are not including Predator GTO pellets when testing new rifles. Sometimes GTOs are the best or nearly the best pellet for that rifle. People shoot lead-free for various reasons. Potential indoor lead issues, outdoor range built up, or to avoid lead consumption by hunted meats. From my own experience, some rifles shoot GTOs well and some do not. The Lothar Walther barrel in my Hammerly 850 shoots GTOs the most consistently versus my Discovery, Coyote, Urban, Bantam, or Dream Pup. From your testing, do you have a sense of which rifle barrels shoot GTOs the best? I wish FX would design a barrel liner specifically for GTOs, but have gotten no traction from FX on inquiries of this type.
What's his name?
Mark Frank.
Mark, you're not watching Instagram or Facebook. So, one of my greatest challenges as a content creator, and I'm not picking on you, Mark. I love you. I love that you're a fan, and I love that... Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I love that you brought a great question, and we're going to answer it. But one of the greatest challenges in my world is I get a lot of questions revolving around work that I've already done and shared with the audience. So it's hard to come back and answer them all. I just wanted to say that because I tend to look at a question like I answered that and move on. But this is a good question, and it's a good opportunity for me to say that AEAC isn't just a YouTube channel, right? If you want to get the full experience of the work that I do, the work that I put in, the results that I discover, and learn about that gun from A to Z, you have to watch on Instagram, and then the vlog, and then AEAC Home, and then Facebook in that order. Because the way I always do it is Instagram, as I'm learning and discovering a gun, working up to the vlog, I'm just flooding Instagram with tons of photographs and tech notes. And then I take all that information and I create a vlog here on AEAC Vlog where I kind of know where I'm at, bring you guys in on the discovery and approach. Then I go out and I shoot the full review, right, at 50 and 100 yards, and the picnic table scene, the ending, the beginning, the refill sound, all of that stuff, trigger test. And then I pull it all together on Facebook, and I usually put a photo pack up of like 30 or 40 nice close-up photographs to include like a final thoughts and conclusions, okay? So if you watch that from A to Z, Instagram Hooked on Air, Facebook Hooked on Air, AEAC Vlog YouTube channel, AEAC Home YouTube channel, you will generally have all of your questions answered. So the reason I'm not really picking on you, I love you, but the reason I'm kind of picking on the question is because for years now I've been sharing information on the Predator GTO, which is JSB Predator's alloy, tin pellet, and H&N's Barracuda Green, which is H&N's alloy tin pellet. And I can't think of an air gun that I have not put those two pellets through. Well, the green came about a year ago, but I can't think of an air gun that I've never put those pellets through and not shared that information on Instagram.
Okay, but to be fair, like that's a lot to go back and be like, okay, you shot this rifle with that. Like, can you summarize it?
Well, I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
But before I did that, I wanted to make sure that the audience knows that if you look at in a review and you have a question and you're like, well, maybe that was incomplete, go check my Instagram, go check my Facebook, go check one YouTube channel, check the other, because you have 4 sources of information all coming in from what I've learned about just one air gun.
Yeah.
And it's all designed to work together. So if you're just watching one, you're getting 1/4 of the story. If you're watching 2 of those outlets, you're only getting half of the story, because I will 2/4 because I will share things in each that are not on the other, because otherwise every full review would be like an hour and a half, 2 hours long to cram all that information in. So go ahead. You have a question before I finish answering his?
No.
I can see your lips like.
I was
gonna
be facetious and ask what's 2/4 in metrics.
Making fun of Tim?
No, I just would genuinely be curious. But anyway.
All right. So Mark, here's the answer to your question, buddy. I have found that the Predator GTOs are accurate in like everything. The Turkish-made Hudson barrels, the Turkish-made Crawl barrels, the Swedish-made original FX Smooth Twist, and the newer Smooth Twist X. I found it to be accurate in the Lothar Walther match grade and the Lothar Walther polygonal barrels. So that Predator GTO, in my experience, at 25 yards is accurate in everything, so long as you can get the velocity down to 825 to 850 feet per second. That's where that pellet likes to be. Now, when you move things out to 50, it's very clear to me when I'm doing my due diligence that that pellet also wants to be accurate at 50, but they're so lightweight because they're made of tin and not lead that they move around a lot once you get past 25 yards. For example, I was shooting it yesterday when I was kind of doing my 50-yard culling with the Crown Continuum, and you know, a 3-mile-an-hour wind is moving them like 4 inches at 50 yards. So you can imagine what a 5 or 6 mile an hour wind is. You know, you're going to be like a foot away. So that's the whole thing with that pellet. They are accurate inherently, but because they're so light, they blow around like dandelion seeds, like literally. So
what do people use them for if they're so?
So you want a lightweight pellet.
Yeah.
When you're concerned about backdrop, because that lightweight pellet loses its steam very quickly. It decelerates.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. Like, let's say I'm shooting in a barn.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put a hole in the roof after I go through, or there's a neighboring farm that I'm worried about. I don't want that pellet to carry hundreds of yards.
Yes.
I want it to lose its steam and just start tumble and just kind of fall into the woods like an acorn would out of an oak tree, you know?
That makes sense.
Yeah, so, and then to his point, which he brought up, toxicity, kids, shooting indoors.
Yeah,
There's
don't
a lot,
shoot kids.
There's a lot lead exposure to kids, you know, or whatever, you know, those are all good reasons. But, and those Barracuda greens are like very hit or miss for me. But it's normally the Predator GTOs that are accurate, like in everything.
So then,
awesome pellet.
So then it probably doesn't make any sense to have us barrel liners specifically for GTOs, because at 25 yards they're accurate in most.
Yeah, you don't need a pellet. You don't need a, like, I find
like
that
that's very specific.
They're accurate in everything, so long as you can get the speed down to 825, 850, and then there's not a lot of wind.
Yeah.
And if it likes a JSB 16 or 18 grain pellet, it's going to like that GTO.
Yeah. And for those sidebar,
in 22, I'm just talking about.
Sidebar, for those of you that aren't so analytically inclined that you would want to check all 4 media avenues for an answer, that's why we've created Ask AEAC.
No, it hasn't. Because you're creating more work for me. The reason I do the work, guys, is because I want you to have the information. And it's with over 60,000 of you now asking me questions on Ask AEAC Home, and another 11,000 here, it gets really hard to keep up with y'all. So I'm coming from a good place when I ask this of you. I'm doing the work and I'm providing you the information. Go to Instagram, then the vlog, then AEAC Home, then Facebook. And if you look at all of that, chances are there really aren't any stones unturned.
Yeah, and you could use YouTube like a search engine. So, you know, you go into AAC or somebody's channel specifically, but in your search bar, for those of you that may not know, you can put in things like airgun, GTO, lead, whatever, and it'll use it like a Boolean. It'll pull up videos that have all three elements. So that's also something to consider too. If you're looking for some more specific information, you could do it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Get specific with your search.
And I think the last thing I want to leave them with to bring this point home is that this isn't a like sometimes I do this or sometimes I don't. That's the mill that the gun goes through every time, without fail, since I instituted this, about 2 years ago. The vlog is new, Instagram's new. I had Facebook, I had the AEAC home, but that's the program, that's the mill, that's why it's 80 hours. And as I learn, you guys learn with me, and you'll come away from it knowing, I would hope, everything that you would need to know. Because I put a lot of heart into making sure you guys have that information.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one never sees me.
That's true. Next one is from Lance M. And it was a question posted to Ask AEAC. I've been told when using a hand pump to full your air reservoir, you will get moisture buildup. What do you think about that?
I think that moisture buildup is just part of being on planet Earth. If you're going to fill an air gun, you're going to have water inside of it. Unless you're taking, your SCBA tank to the dive shop who have all the filters, and you're always putting that super arid air in your gun, or unless you live like in an arid part of our country, to compress air, you're going to get moisture in it. So if you're like a guy like me who uses like an Omega turbocharger compressor or the Daystate, Coltree that's out in the garage compressor, or an FX hand pump, which I have here, you're going to be generating moisture. Yeah, you can get all these filters and stuff, but I've never fooled with that stuff.
Does it affect the performance of the
I think
rifle?
people get concerned that it's going to rust out the inside of air guns, but air guns are typically put together with aluminum and stainless steel.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of metals in there that react heavily.
Well, and you clean it too.
To water. Well, he's talking inside the gun, in the valving and the regulator on the inside of the air tube. Those places that you can't see, I think people fear that they rust out. But I've had pre-charged, I've got my Benjamin Marauder's 10 years old.
Yeah.
I've always filled it with like hand pumps and, compressors. And I live in Florida. And I don't go to the dive shop to get arid air. And that thing still works great. And it's 10 years old and it's a Benjamin Marauder. You go up to these $1,500, $2,000 guns and the metals that are inside are very inert. They don't really react with water. So I'd say don't worry about it. That being said, hand pumps do have moisture purges. The FX hand pump I have in the closet has a moisture purge and a little moisture collector. So if there is condensation building up in that pumping system, there's a reservoir where it's kind of pooling, and then when you open the bleed valve, it kind of blows it out there. So the majority is not getting in your gun, but you can get I think they're called like desiccant filters, which absorb the moisture. And, I suppose there's no harm in that, but the message I want to leave you with is I've never done that. And I have PCPs that are like 10 years old, and I live in the frickin' tropics.
Yeah. So it probably does get moisture, but we've never noticed.
I've never had an issue with that.
Or had an issue with
even in inexpensive guns where you wouldn't think that as much heart goes into the metallurgy inside the gun.
I mean, if you think about, so I was in band, so I think about band instruments when somebody says about moisture release.
Oh, I know where you're going. It's so disgusting.
On like a clarinet or a flute or a sax.
It's just going everywhere.
So gross.
Band geeks are nasty. Nasty.
It's so gross. And the band room's always carpeted with
it's so nasty.
It's like years of spit.
That's why the band room always smells like the YMCA, man.
It is.
Gross.
It is true. But those instruments never have any kind of moisture issues, and they get moisture in them all the time.
Well, they're plastic and brass and wood.
Clarinet's made out of wood.
Yeah.
I've never seen a clarinet do what a wooden door does.
Moisture's not a problem unless you have steel that does not have a high content of nickel in it.
Yeah.
Then it's iron and it rusts. But outside of that, it's just really not a problem.
Yeah. Okay. So next question. Go band.
Go band.
It's from Neil Wynn. I feel like this is the second time we've picked Neil in like 3 weeks.
Well, if you ask a good question,
Neil's coming up with some good ones. This was posted to Ask AAC. Please review. It's not a question. Please review the Priest airgun soon. Stop it. Stop it. Stop.
What do you see, Bam Bam? Who's that?
Okay.
Who's that?
Hey. No.
You get him, boy.
Stop winding him up. Okay. Hush.
Come here, Harvey.
Please review the Priest airgun soon. It's not a question.
Yeah, so I picked that one because the RTI, at least here in the okay, let me back up. So I actually had the Priest here. And usually when an air gun, there's so many guns here at any given time in line to be reviewed. There's always about 10-ish. And so, it's just, they sit here a while. They sit here 3 to 6 months before I get to them once they arrive. And so the RTI and Air Guns of Arizona did send the Priest. It sat here for like 3 months. I picked up the phone. I was like, hey guys, I'm going to start on this. Am I good to go? And they're like, no, don't do that because the Priest is being replaced with the Prophet. So they had me send that back. That was like 3 months ago. And I think the Prophet just came out like maybe a month ago. And what's so funny?
It's a very Easter question, Priest and Prophet.
But I haven't seen the Prophet yet. So the Prophet is a side lever cocking version of the Priest where you kind of get away from like this thing. And I think you kind of get into like, side lever cocking.
Uh-huh. What are you getting away from?
Oh, you're not paying attention, so I'm not going to repeat myself.
No, I just wanted you to repeat the hand gesture.
No. So I've been told that they're going to send a Prophet. Things are good between me and RTI and Air Guns of Arizona, so I imagine I'll see it. If I called them and bugged them, they'd probably send it, and I intend to get my hands on it and review it. But that's the story of why it's taking so long and why you will not see me review a Priest. Because here in our market, it's being phased out with the Prophet, even though right now they may be available side by side. You can get either or.
Oh, yeah, online.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. This is from James Rocco. I'm going to go with that. It's Rachal. This question was posted to Ask AAC. Publicly subscribe to you, parentheses 1 year. Hi, Steve. It's got an exclamation point, so I had to do that. Hi, Steve. Was wondering.
Hi.
This damn Ukrainian word again. Was wondering if you have any insights regarding Zbroia air guns. I'm looking at the Kozak and seeing a lot of good things out there.
Yeah, so I just wanted to. Anytime I grab one of these questions, it's always from like the last 5 or 6 days. So I just wanted to illustrate to you guys that I am getting a lot of requests for those Zbroias. I have been all along. I've told Joe Brancato at airtanksforsale.com that my door is always open and I'd love to host one of those guns, through the AEAC mill. So maybe you guys can help me help you and gang up on him and get him to send me a product.
I mean, it only seems appropriate considering I was born in Ukraine, but I don't speak the language.
I know, right? But you speak Russian, and everyone in Ukraine speaks Russian, so...
No.
Oh, they do.
Not the younger
Unless
generation.
you're like a senior citizen.
No.
Or all the senior citizens speak Russian.
All the seniors, all of the people that are like 35 and older speak both Ukrainian and Russian, but folks that are like 25 years old, they're not being taught Russian in school.
But you can still understand one another. It's kind of like...
Can you?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of like, English and maybe what you'd go get when you go to Jamaica or when you go to New Orleans. Like, it sounds a little funky and some words you're like, oh, but you can kind of get what they're saying. So the point is, there has to be a point, honey. The point is, because my wife...
Ukrainian and Russian are not the same. Ukrainian's closer to Polish than it is to Russian.
Focus. The point is, if you guys help me gang up on Joe... with a bunch of emails, that's the point, that we could probably do some cool thing. Or Zbroia, you want to reach out directly to him. We could do some cool things, because my wife is from Ukraine, and I've been there. I've visited.
You have, it's true.
Yeah, man, let's get it going.
Oh my God, that's a funny story. Maybe for the next time.
Yeah. It's Easter. We were going to go enjoy the rest of our Easter. I think we're going to go, it's 92 degrees.
We're going to go rollerblading.
And 20-mile-an-hour winds right now. In Florida. We're record high today, and we're going to go rollerblading it.
Which 92 for us is not high, it's just record high for the year.
We should have bought some kites at Walmart for the rollerblading.
That is a non-essential item, Steven.
I'm still traumatized from Walmart today.
We're just traumatizing.
Mommy.
Don't go.
Mommy.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, guys.
I hope you enjoyed this session. We hope you enjoyed this session of Ask AAC.
And be safe out there.
Yep, no song for you today, so you're going to have to make one up yourself.
And happy Easter. Much love.
No one cleans like Gaston, quarantines like Gaston. No one stops the spread of COVID-19 like Gaston.